The game of Geometry Dash has a lot of variety. Within Geometry Dash, there are 8 different game modes, and all of them have their own variations of movement and how they play. But with 8 game modes, some are going to be less enjoyable than others. So I figured, why not rank them? We have another tier list. We have the cube, the ship, the UFO, the ball, the wave, the robot, the spider, the swing, and for a bonus, 2.1 swing copter. I guess we're going to go in order in when they were introduced. I think this is probably the correct order right here. So first we have Cube. You know, that's pretty much the face of the game. First thing you see when you play Geometry Dash is likely Serial Madness and likely going to be the cube. It's the most simplistic game mode of all of them. You click and it just jumps. There's really no variation to it. It gets a little fun when you start, you know, putting orbs and stuff into the gameplay. But as a whole, it's kind of bland. It's not the worst thing in the world. I'm going to throw it in C tier because the way I see it used often, especially in really hard levels, is really annoying. You have those classic jumps where there's a spike on the bottom and the spike on top and you have to jump in between. You also have the annoying triple spike, even quadruple spike jumps. So overall, I'm not really the biggest fan of it, but it can be fun. It's just I don't find it fun often. Next up, we have Ship, and this is obviously way better than Cube is. There's a bunch of variations to this as well. And unlike Cube, the variations are a lot more substantial. When your ship switches gravity, it changes the controls and it makes that a lot harder to actually maneuver sometimes. So when you're going in and out of gravity, it's actually difficult because you have to sometimes click into a gravity change, kind of like in cycles. And orbs also affect it, and that took me a while to get used to. Mini is also a big thing with Ship. It changes the physics of it entirely. I really like Ship, and I wish I was better at it, unfortunately. I think it's really fun if you're actually good at it, and unfortunately I am not. So I'm going to put it in an A tier. And it's honestly a skill issue. It is what it is. Next up we have Ball. This was introduced in one of the earlier updates, but it wasn't a part of default Geometry Dash like these first two were. Ball is easily the most simplistic one. You click and it switches gravity, which also creates a dilemma of having to do those annoying jumps I talked earlier about having to click in between spikes. It also makes way for a lot of high CPS parts where you have to kind of spam your ball a little bit. I don't really think a whole lot when I play ball gameplay. It's not really good. It's not bad. It's better than Cube. I'm going to actually put it in B tier just because I don't think there's anything wrong with it. Alright, now we have the biggest hot take, and that is me putting UFO in S tier. I'm not sure why, there is just something about it. I love how satisfying it feels doing those tight jumps into spikes. I love it when it switches upside down and switches right back up. It's just enjoyable for me. I like playing it with orbs. I like playing it with fast. I like playing spam parts. I really am not sure what it is about it. I just really enjoy playing UFO. However, I would never play a level like Viper in UFO where that's all it is. I don't like it that much. I do think it's a good game mode, and I think it's deserving of S tier. Alright, next we have Wave. Now, Wave is probably the most iconic game mode in the game. It's very known for being in a lot of top demons. Grief has a lot of wave in it. Tidal Wave obviously has a lot of wave in it. Slaughterhouse is very iconic. Nine Circles. Go on and on and on. There are so many really iconic parts with Wave. And because of that, I'm also going to throw this in S tier, but below UFO. I really do like it. It also has that thing where the mini portal drastically affects the physics of the game mode. It feels like entirely different game mode when you're playing with it. And while that can be annoying with a lot of spam, wave spam, stuff like that, I really don't like that. But that doesn't take away from the overall mechanic of it, in my opinion. I do think it is very good, and it has a lot of variety in how you can make gameplay with it. With that being said, that also kind of hurts it almost in a way because you're bound to make really poor gameplay with it because you can do so much with it. I'm not going to use that against the Wave. But next we have Robot, and I might get a lot of critique for this. I'm throwing this bad boy in F tier. I cannot stand playing Robot. I just honestly hate it. It sucks. It is easily my least favorite thing to do with this game. Levels like Nullscapes and Shardscapes I would never play. I don't really enjoy how you have to control how much you hold. It feels too much like the Cube is what it is. It feels like the Cube, but now you have to factor in how long you hold, and I just don't find that fun. So yeah, that's why I'm throwing it in F tier. I just have never enjoyed playing Robot in any level that I've ever beaten. There's never been a single level that I've beaten that I've like, you know what, I really enjoyed this Robot part. That has never happened, and it probably never will happen. Alright, next up we have Spider. Now, Spider might be one of the more underrated game modes. I actually quite enjoy Spider. It's really similar to Ball, except with Ball, it takes a little bit of time when you click for it to go up. Spider just goes instantly, which does make some of the clicks that you can do with it extremely difficult and look extremely precise, but I find that more satisfying. The thing I don't like about Spider is how spammy it can be, even more so than ball gameplay. But that's just because I don't like spam, so I'm not going to hold against that too much. Overall, I think I can put this in B tier. I think this is a decent game mode. I do not think it's too bad. Alright, next up we have Swing, and I don't think it's very controversial to have this rated pretty low. I'm not sure exactly why, but it just isn't necessarily my cup of tea. For those confused, Swing Copter basically acts as the ship, except you switch gravity every time you click. So it's kind of like, imagine the ball game mode being in the air, which is exactly, we're going to get to that in a second. But that's pretty much kind of what it is, and I don't like it that much. I don't think it's horrible, and I think some people just like to hate on it because they're not good at it. But me personally, I just genuinely don't find it that much, or that enjoyable, and because of that, I'm going to have to throw this in D tier. It's not the worst thing in the world, but it's definitely not my favorite by any means. And now we have 2.1 Swing Copter, and I think most people can agree that this is the more fluid game mode. It's more smooth than the 2.2 version. So because Swing Copter didn't actually exist, the way that people used it was they put a duel and they put a bunch of blue gravity or blue orbs at the top, and then whenever you clicked, it switched gravity just like the Swing does, but it's a ball. And for some reason that just feels better. I'm not sure why, but it just does. It's still not good. I still wouldn't really like to play this a lot, and it's not present in that many levels, but I do think it is considerably better than the originals, or the actual Swing Copter. I'm going to put this in C tier, above the cube, because I really don't like cube gameplay. Alright, and there you have it. I guess that's my tier list. Come at me in the comments, because I know that this is not the average tier list. I know for a lot of people are going to disagree, but I don't really care. And show me your tier list in the comments as well. I'm interested to hear y'all's thoughts. But anyway, that'll be it for this. I think next I'm going to rank the other gameplay changes. So things like Upside Down Portal and Mini Portal and Mirror Portal. So stay tuned for that. But I hope you guys enjoyed. And like always, I'll see you in the next one. Goodbye.